Why do people turn into little school children whenever any celebrities seem to get along with each other and play the KISSING game sitting in a tree with these people? Why do people do it? This is what we're going to be talking about on today's episode. Why are people so obsessed with shipping other people? Is it a pandemic in itself? There's also a couple of nice new movies we've both watched, and we'll be paying more respects to some people who have sadly passed away, some very notable figures as well. I think it's going to be another great episode. Welcome back to the Madness. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Madness with Morgan and the Machine. It felt like a little bit of a longer intro this week, Jeannine. What do you think about that?
I mean, you're doing good. You're trying something a little different each time. So I like the switch up, the change up. So keep it fresh.
Keep it fresh and ready. This is what we like. But yes, no, I genuinely believe what I said in the intro about our main discussion today. I think it's going to be very exciting because I know you are somebody who does like to get into ships and shipping people, fictional characters, real people, co-stars mainly, and this is kind of what we're going to be focusing the discussion on, I think, is co-stars in promotional interviews, seemingly playing this up to get people's eyes on them, get people's eyes on their movie, their TV show, whatever it may be. It's an interesting promotional tool for sure. Do we want to start with our what's up though? So, Jeannine.
We got a couple things up today, Morgan. I saw a new movie. I saw the film BIKERIDERS with Tom Hardy and Austin Butler, Jodie Comer. So I didn't really know what this movie was going into it. A friend just said, "Hey, do you want to go see this movie?" And I was like, "Sure." So I didn't even really know it was like a period set film. It takes place in in a span between like 65 to like 72 or something like that.
Okay.
So like the 60s, 70s, and it's based on a
Proper
book.
biker years.
Yes. Yeah, so it's based on a book called BIKERIDERS, where this film student or this college student was following around this biker gang and kind of recording them, interviewing them, and following their story and taking pictures and recordings. And he wrote this book. And so this film is based on that book and this motorcycle gang. So, feel like Austin Butler, he was kind of doing this brooding silent type thing. So he didn't actually have like a ton of dialogue. He was more about his presence.
I'm quite thankful for that because I was panicking when you told me the three cast members, the three leads of this movie. I can only imagine what sort of voice Austin Butler would come out with, having spent a significant amount of time with both Tom Hardy and Jodie Comer. It would be the most absurd accent yet that has come out of Austin Butler's mouth.
Yeah, so it's set in Chicago, so it's very much a Chicago accent. So Jodie Comer
No,
is the
I'm
one
just saying, like, spending time with them as people. Tom Hardy's and their actual accents. Tom Hardy's obviously got a rather thick, drawly kind of way of speaking. Jodie Comer's a Scouser. So it's really, really a strange mix to throw Austin Butler in, who clearly is somebody who takes on other people's accents and can't get rid of them.
Can't break them. So he didn't do a ton of talking. He was more about his attitude and presence, which I think he pulled off well and I think worked for the film because we have Jodie Comer who's doing most of the talking. She's kind of narrating the story and she's the one like we're checking in with. So we see the guy interviewing. The guy is played by I can't remember his name.
I can find it.
One of the guys from Challengers.
Josh O'Connor.
No, the other one. Yeah, the
Mike
one that I
Feist.
thought was the other one I thought was Josh O'Connor. The other one, the Feist.
I'll
Yes,
make sure you've got it right.
yes, it's the Feist guy. So he's mostly interviewing her, and we hear her narration, and she's really comedic in a lot of the dialogue that she has and how she's telling the story of these guys. But also it gets very dramatic. So it's kind of funny seeing like the startup of the gang and their dynamics. And we have kind of our silly, goofy ones, and Tom Hardy's the leader of this gang. He started it. Um, he was watching a Marlon Brando movie. I can't remember which one.
The wild one, no doubt.
Yes, probably. Yes,
Yeah,
it was that one. And that's like what kind of the myth is how he decided to start this motorcycle group.
makes sense.
So it started as them kind of doing like drag races in this pit, and then it turned into wanting to actually form a club. So it's him and his good friends, and more people want to join up, and people ask to start chapters in other places, and it grows. And then uh, the conflict comes in is when kind of more people and new people start kind of joining, and there's a conflict between the old and the new. And then
Okay.
people kind of want to challenge Tom Hardy for power. And they start to kind of devolve into more criminal things and more
Hmm.
vendetta based things, and that kind of veers off of the kind of original goal of the
Yeah.
motorcycle group. So it's very much in conflict of like what it originally was meant to be. And Austin Butler's character is kind of like, I just want to ride, I just want to be with my crew, I just want to wear my colors. But what have we become? What are we becoming when you want to take revenge off this person and burn down their place because of whatever vendetta? And you want to beat up that person because of this thing, and you want to kill people and all of these things.
Yeah.
It kind of devolves into this kind of criminal thing, and that comes into conflict with the original goal of the club. So yeah,
It's always interesting when you get movies and shows, I suppose, as well, that deal with a certain sort of gang or at least a subculture of
yeah,
people
yeah,
that form because of mutual. I don't know. It could be anything, just a mutual bond. They have a mutual
yeah,
bond, but it comes from a place of togetherness originally.
yeah,
Obviously, this is very much the same, but so many movies of that kind go on this structure and end up, that subculture becomes either infiltrated by very bad people
yeah.
or a completely new way of thinking that turns it violent, which is why we get these kind of prejudices against gangs of subcultures people
Well, yeah,
because
that's kind of how the movie opens. It shows somebody just kind of coming up to Austin Butler and kind of yelling at him to get out of this bar because he's just wearing his colors. His,
exactly there's no reason to do that other than this being a thing at all because it's happened to so many
yeah,
different subcultures. It's
yeah,
so recognized by so many different people
yeah,
as potentially now dangerous. So if you look into, and the bike riders, I'm sure will tell you this, if you look into the origins of a lot of what we view as now very, I suppose, quote unquote, evil subcultures, I'm thinking also of particularly skinheads.
oh
Like,
yeah,
if you look at the origins of them, it's so just about being together and being kind of fighting for yourself and not remotely violent or
yeah.
anti anything. It's mad to think
That
of
it's
where
kind of
these kind of
devolved
things can
into
go.
that. Yeah.
And it's very
Yeah,
interesting though.
but yeah, generally I enjoyed the film. It kind of was a bit of a slow burn, but the performance is really great. I think Jodie Comer was the standout in the film for sure. Tom Hardy always great in everything. So yeah, I
Yeah.
found myself really getting into it. Didn't know what to expect, and yeah, ultimately enjoyed it.
Good. Well, I mean, I watched a movie as well this week that I had been excited to watch
Yes,
for a
I'm
very
excited to.
long
I'm
time.
excited to watch this one as well. But
I have told you, obviously, my blunt first thoughts when
yes,
I came out of this movie, Horizon. An American Saga, Chapter 1. Kevin Costner's back, as we love Kevin Costner here on the It's a Wonderful Everything It's a Wonderful podcast. Now, especially after our mega successful, for us at least, Kevin Costner series
Yeah.
that we did on Morgan Hasn't Seen. But Horizon has been something I've been looking forward to since I found out it was a thing, since that first trailer of it dropped. I've been keeping up to date with it. This is a rarity for me with new movies these days.
Yes. But you've been talking about
And
wanting to see this for a while, so,
yeah,
you know.
when it got so much good praise from Cannes in its premiere, I
Mhm.
was so happy. I'm seeing all these interviews with Costner where he's just so he's so touched by
Emotional,
everybody. He's
yeah.
so into this movie. It's a movie that he's been wanting to put together, or a story that he's been wanting to put together for decades now. And he's finally getting there. We're gonna get chapter 2 in only a few months' time. I don't know when we'll be getting the 3rd and the 4th, but ultimately it's a 4-chapter thing. This
Yeah.
first one's 3 hours. It's
Oh my
going to
god.
be enormous. Um,
Okay.
and frankly, it is enormous. It's a massive, massive movie.
And I don't know
It
that anything like this has really been done before. I think maybe the closest thing is, the whole, X and Pearl thing being released in the same year and being filmed back to back. But to have a film
Oh,
with
right, yeah.
chapters like that kind of come out in a couple months of each other and kind of build like that,
Yeah.
is a really cool concept.
It just feels like such a in an odd way, it feels so fresh,
Yeah.
because we don't get westerns of this kind a lot at all in today's cinema.
Yeah.
Any westerns we do get are potentially more action-based westerns, or
Mhm.
potentially more kind of cynical westerns and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
This is just a very genuine historical epic, and
Nice.
by genuine, I mean it has hopefulness at its core.
Okay.
It has perseverance at its core, the perseverance of people fighting through hardships, fighting through tension, fighting through the loads of tiny little personal stories that are going on and intertwining. And you're dealing with a few different groups of people in the movie,
Okay.
in different areas of the Western frontier.
Mhm.
Um, Ultimately, it appears that they are story points play along. I really don't actually want to give anything away.
Okay.
Story points play along where it becomes clear that they're all going to end up in the same location. The location being this town of Horizon, which is this promised land kind of
Yeah.
town
Okay.
that doesn't actually fully exist. It's just the dream of it, the
Okay.
promise of it is what is driving all these
Driving.
different types of people to this area.
Okay.
Um, and it's really nasty at times. It's very
Ooh.
gritty and violent and horrible. But these are all with the little personal meetings that sort of happen, and kind of, I suppose there's a bit of victim of circumstance going on. There's
Yeah.
also definitely a hell of a lot of revenge stuff going on. It's
Okay.
all as though you're taking the principles of so many different American westerns and throwing them all in to one story, and it
Yeah.
actually really working because Costner just loves westerns and knows westerns so well that he's
Okay.
able to just structure the entire thing pitch perfectly.
Oh,
And
nice. Okay.
I went seeing this movie with my dad because my dad was also very much into what movie,
Yeah.
which was really fun.
Oh,
And
nice.
we noticed the guys in front of us coming out, because there was a fair few people in the screening for it being at a middle of the day on a Friday, which is quite
Yeah.
good. but they were calling it corny, and I couldn't like disagree more.
Maybe it's
D-
just 'cause they do you over there, like most people, kind of have a general concept of this genre? Because it feels like obviously we have our spaghetti westerns, but generally I think the western genre is kind of this Americana kind of
Of
iconic
course it
thing.
is. Yeah, of
So,
course it is. But
like,
when
how do British people view that kind of is it just inherently always gonna come off as corny to them?
but I genuinely do not understand where these people were coming from.
Okay.
I really don't, because what I think they viewed as corniness was a genuine heart that the movie had. It wasn't, it didn't have a cynical attitude. It had a really truthful, positive attitude. Like, it's dealing with so many different viewpoints from so many different kinds of people, multiple Native American viewpoints in different ways, and strife
Yeah.
between the Apache, namely, because some of them want to just be all out violent and some of them really
I
don't and
wanna
just want
try
to
yeah,
everybody be. And it's
yeah.
very much the same with the white settlers. You get black people in there, you get Chinese people in
Okay.
here.
Yeah, and
There's
it also
all
feels
different
very
kinds of sects.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it feels all very historical. So, I don't know how something that's also, telling real human stories and dealing with real human dynamics and different dynamics on top of also being very accurately historical could come off as
Mm.
corny. Like, I think of something like Sam Raimi's The Quick and the Dead, where you're doing kind of these cheesy quick pans. Your characters are giving like
Yeah.
these, really cool lines. Like, I
But
could maybe
maybe,
see something like that being called corny, but something like this, which feels like it's going to be very historical, something that's
yeah.
giving a very nuanced viewpoints of different races and different types of people, uh, I don't know how you could get corny from that.
No, and it really is, and it's understated as well. It does not beat you over the head with what it's trying to say. It lets you figure out what it's trying to say. It's perfectly simple, but it is true epic
Okay.
movie making at its finest. For me, we walked out of that really, really with big smiles
Nice.
on our faces.
Okay. I love
We
it.
can't wait to see what is going to come in chapter two, because we're left with, I mean, you could watch it as a singular movie, but we're left with open ends for quite a
Okay.
lot
Okay.
of stuff going on. A really great ensemble cast, plenty of notable faces popping up, some of which only pop up for a very, very short time, but you're like, oh, hey, look, it's whoever. Luke
Yeah.
Wilson's in the movie,
Yeah. I
William
think
Sadler's
isn't
in the
Jenna
movie,
Malone
Costner's
in it?
obviously, Jenna Malone's in the movie, Jamie Campbell Bower is in the
Okay.
movie, Sienna Miller, Giovanni Ribisi shows up for
Oh, haven't
literally
seen
5
him.
seconds at the very end of the movie.
Okay.
Literally 5
So he's
seconds. It's
probably
mad.
coming in maybe in the next part.
Possibly, but he was playing a printer, like a man who works a printing press.
Okay.
So I don't really know what he
How
may
that could
do
factor
in the
into
next one.
okay.
Um,
Yes, but I
it
like the
was
idea of this. Yeah,
Yeah, I like the idea of it anyway. Having watched it now, it's I have all the faith in this becoming a real monumental work of
okay.
not only westerns but of movies. This is what Costner could very well be remembered by, if
Wow.
we are allowing it to see out its potential after this
Okay.
first one.
Yes, because this could have been like a Netflix miniseries and released all 4
Mm,
parts on, like, a streaming. So the fact that you're having these 4 parts come out consecutively in theaters and have it already be this set kind of thing, I think that's really interesting and cool, and I also loved what he said, at Cannes after, he got this great standing ovation that he says, "This movie's yours now." Like, he kind of
yeah,
gave it to the audience, and I absolutely love that, so, yay,
it really
wonderful.
does feel. like it's a very universal movie, and obviously predominantly it's dealing with, you know, white American settlers going west.
Yeah.
It is, but fundamentally it is such a human story from all accounts,
Okay.
and you are getting all accounts. You
Okay.
are. And you know, that's important, and it's not shying away from the harsh realities of what's going on in terms of personal tension and in terms of actually the journey out west,
Okay.
and the area, the lawlessness, the unspeakable things you can come across through pure bad luck. It's crazy. There's so much going on, and it's told wonderfully.
Okay.
Yes.
Love that.
Unfortunately, we now have to get a bit somber because
Yes.
we have lost another couple of notable names this
Yeah.
week. Firstly, Bill Cobbs, who was a wonderful character actor. I mean,
Yeah.
countless movies. How many things? How many times have you seen Bill Cobbs
Just pop
show
up
up
in something.
i-
Yeah.
in something and bring a smile to your face just because of his warm presence in it?
Yes, and I mean, as a horror fan, he's also had a pretty strong career in the horror genre,
Yeah,
popping up in 2 films I really love. He was in the, of course, very cheesy, but I love it sequel to I Know What You Did Last Summer, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, and, People Under the Stairs. So,
yeah,
yeah, just really sad loss, but he made it to 90 years old. He had just turned 90.
yeah,
He had some complications with pneumonia and obviously his age. But yeah, a long, beloved career and a long life. So
yeah. You
yeah,
can't you can't fault Bill Cobbs. He will be remembered, and he should be
mhm,
remembered for his name as well, not just his face.
yeah,
I think he is in that vein of character actor who you actually do know the name of,
yes, yeah,
which is great. I mean, it's the least he deserves,
yes,
because he was always a great presence in the
yeah,
movies, and Martin Mull as well,
yes,
who
great
on
comedic
a
actor,
yeah, much more comedic, I suppose. I mean, Bill Cobbs could play kind of
kind of
anything, but
everything, anything, yeah,
Martin Mull was definitely the comedian. Started out on TV, I believe, right?
I
In
think
like the
so,
70s, maybe,
yeah,
but
yes.
has done so much. Definitely, you know this man's face if you've watched any
Oh yeah,
sort
he's done
of
a ton of
American
TV.
comedy.
I absolutely love him in Clue. I think most people love him in
Yeah,
Clue. He's great as Colonel Mustard. um, Arrested Development, he kind of was this reoccurring uh, pop-up character that Jess Walton's character would, whenever she needed like a private eye for something, she would just call him and he would just
okay.
like pop in. Um, and like he would like surprise her, like she would be talking about him and then he'd pop out from like a bush or like a tree and she would be like, I hate when you do that, but I love it. It's so great. Cause he would just like, she'd be talking about him and then he'd be like in disguise somewhere and she'd get so excited to see him every time. So it's like this great running gag with his character. But yeah, he was a great comedic actor and really, really sad to lose him as well.
Yeah. Rest in peace to both of those
Yes.
two wonderful actors. Of course, as we move in now to our Let's Talk, to put it in a slightly blunt, direct, and perhaps disrespectful way, to move from death to love as we talk about our Let's Talk today and the world, Janine, of shipping people. Please
Yes.
take reins.
Yes, I think it's kind of become the hottest promotional tool for any actor's projects to really sell the relationship, particularly if their characters are romantically involved in the media that they're doing. They love
Mm,
to kind of have this rapport and chemistry, which I mean could very well be just very natural rapport and chemistry, but just kind of giving that to fans, seeing them on red carpets holding hands or laughing together or being silly. Um, I think really gets people excited to watch them have this chemistry on screen in this project. And, I think the term, especially with the kind of one of the latest perpetrators of this trend, Nicola Coughlan and Luke Newton of Bridgerton season 3, they have,
Yes.
they have put us all in the term called Delulu state, that we obviously know they're not together, like, but we like to live in Delulu land where we just like to, like to pretend that it's possible they're together. They're so cute and their chemistry's so great and they make each other laugh and they're always holding hands and cuddly and snuggly and they have incredible chemistry.
So when before the very start of the show, when I
Yes,
complained that people were acting like school children, and then you've just come out with a term that is apparently widely used,
it is widely used. You're just an old
delulu,
man.
which I assume just means delusional, but you've
Yes.
made it cute.
Yes, exactly, to fit these cute couples. So, I mean, obviously, this is something that has gone on for a while, but I think it's only now being really seen as this promotional aspect. I mean, we saw it with Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell for their rom-com Anyone But You. And,
Yeah,
I like to say they probably, did their promo work, they promoted a little too close to the sun, because it was sparking rumors that they
did they?
broke up their real life relationships because they were being so flirtatious
Oh,
and cute in interviews and red carpet situations. um and, we see it with even years after their show has ended, we've seen it with Kerry Washington and Tony Goldwyn, seeing them support
okay.
each other's projects. So even when the show was going on, they were very cute together and really flirty and lovey on each other. And they're two like very happily married people. And so in recent times, supporting each other's projects, they've been very kind of cute. Like, the biggest trend I think on TikTok for a while was the black wife effect, where black women were showing, their schlubby white
Oh,
husbands. And then
that's
after
right. Yes,
after
I've
they got
seen
together,
this.
they're looking, they got some flavor, they got some style, they're looking cool. And Kerry
Some
Washington,
schlubby looking man.
you
Uh,
know, and Kerry Washington did one with Tony Goldwyn saying "Black Wife
oh,
Effect" and showed clips of him like in his old movies, like him in the Friday the 13th movie he was in, him as Tarzan, like him in Ghost, and all of those kinds of things. And then the Black Wife Effect is him like with her pictures, really cute and hot pictures of them from Scandal and things like that.
okay.
So people love, and like I think there was even an interview where he was being kind of like flirty with her on this big stage thing, and their kind of couple name on the show was Olitz, because she's Olivia and he's Fitz. So she's like, he's just doing this for you because he knows you love all this Olitz stuff. So it's very much, it speaks to how they play into it because they know fans love it, and it will kind of help boost, their name. Help, like, after seeing her kind of recently support this thing he did and have, the black wife effect and all these cute little things in recent times, years after their show has ended, it made me want to go back and watch Scandal again.
Yeah,
So
look, I can't deny that it does work because it has worked ultimately for a very, very,
yes.
very long time.
Yes.
Going right the way back, there was a reason old Hollywood studios would meddle in their performers'
Oh
lives and
yeah.
have them marry each other because it would benefit some such movie.
Yes, or have them lie about if they were married or not talk about their actual life
Yeah.
significant other so that they could play this romance with their co-star. Yeah, I
I
remember
mean
seeing things like that.
that is obviously a very extreme measure to take,
Yes, yes.
but it's fundamentally the same kind of thing. It is shipping people as a promotional tool. Now we're seeing it, and we're seeing it an awful lot, and we've seen it. It's always been there. I do think we're in a bit of a little boom of it
Yes.
at the moment. Um, but it very much now obviously comes from the people themselves actively wanting to do this rather than some business, stupid nonsense Harry Cohn man
Yeah,
upstairs.
studio telling them they need to. So when you see them actually genuinely have this chemistry and it feels organic and real, then
Yeah.
you like them more because of it, and you wanna support them, and you wanna see that play out on screen, and you wanna see that play out in real life because they are so cute in their dynamic together. So I think a part of them, like, uses that, but they also, just genuinely, like, I could tell, like, Luke and Nicola really care about each other. They really enjoy each
Yeah.
other's company. They're very good friends. But because of all the kind of big intimacy things happening with their characters, I think people want to see them together, in real life because of the frequency of seeing them, so cute together.
Yes. Let's put the question on screen because I forgot to do that at the beginning of Let's Talk. Why do we get so into shipping celebrities? Is it because I'm gonna play a little bit of a question
Okay.
game, maybe half devil's advocate right now. Is it because I actually do enjoy seeing co-stars get on as well as these examples do, and it does have an effect of making you want to go and watch a show, go and watch a movie, getting you
Yeah.
more excited for that kind of stuff when you can see a potential spark in their real life
Yeah.
counterparts. But also, is it an example of what is happening and happens so often and so much more these days? I feel that people can't differentiate between fiction and reality.
I
And
mean,
if you are an on screen couple, you have to be a real life couple, otherwise, well, it doesn't work. I can't believe the fiction if it's not real.
yes, I
Why?
mean, people people get very serious about it because, I mean, they're playing it so well. Like, it just makes sense to them that why wouldn't they? Why couldn't they? For me, I think I enjoy it, particularly when it's maybe like, uh, a dark black skinned woman involved in the kind of situation, because women who look like me aren't typically seen as desirable, aren't typically seen as beautiful or depicted in that way. So when the woman in her actual life is being, adored by her co-star in this really cute
Hmm.
way, I appreciate that. And it, kind of is this weird validation that people who look like me can be seen in a relationship with this other really attractive person, that this other really attractive person can adore this person and see how beautiful they are, because people who look like that person rarely get to be depicted that way. So, like something like a Andrew Lincoln and Denai Guerrera, like he is a happily married
Mm,
man with kids, but you see him like, look how beautiful my
yeah.
work wife is. She's in an interview talking about the show, and he just stops the interview to say, "Have you seen her dress? I mean, look how gorgeous her dress is." Like, and I'm just like eating it up. We see Lupita right now with Joseph Quinn,
Mm.
like they're really close holding, and like her strap falls down, and like without even looking, he just reaches up and puts her strap back up on her dress, and like, we're like swooning,
Is it also though? It is sometimes. Does it not feel?
feel?
I'd like to point out your point about dark skin women is a very valid point, but it definitely depends who you ask.
Oh yes, it
Um,
definitely it's subjective, but I'm just saying in media in general.
yes,
Yeah.
which is very fair. Is it not also though? Like, why are we celebrating Joseph Quinn pulling Lupita Nyong'o's strap back up when that should be something he's just doing anyway, shouldn't it?
But I mean, it's just how he did it. Like, he just has his arm around her, they're taking pictures. He doesn't even really look. He just feels her strap fall down and instinctually just
So it's an
whoop.
instinct
And it's
thing.
also this comfortability with her to do that, because maybe most guys would be like, I don't want to touch her in that way, it might be
Ah,
come off
okay.
as inappropriate. But the fact that he has this comfortability with her to just naturally touch her shoulder in that way, and protect her, and make sure she's all, so the fact that he looked out for her in this really brief moment it's very kind of like sweet and like has you kind of raise an eyebrow to that relationship. Um,
So it's doing things. So we think that why we get so into shipping these celebrities is because we sense a certain unspoken instinctiveness with the two of them. That
yes, and maybe we
is
do.
that
Oh, go ahead.
we don't need to be spoon fed
Yeah.
a particular couple. We find them for ourselves, but they're in the movies anyway. So is there that already understanding that they are the couple in this movie slash show? So we're going to look a bit closer for this kind of stuff anyway.
Yeah, and it's this kind of vibe of, like, these people have such great chemistry on screen. I love watching them as a couple, as a duo on screen. So, if you bringing that into real life is even cooler. Like, I already love them as a pairing. So, knowing that they have this happy life that they have on my TV screen in real life is just cute, and, like, you wanna adore that and be excited about that. So,
Yeah. I mean,
yes.
where does it fall when we talk about, we're shipping real people here, but where does it fall when we talk about shipping fictional characters? Because then we start turning into Kathy Bates in Misery, don't we?
I mean, it depends on how extreme you take it. I mean, people have made full-on videos, like, analyzing every little way that Luke would look at Nicola, like, he does this thing where he's always touching his lip, and people analyzing that that's a thing you do when you wanna kiss somebody or something, so, somebody will make a supercut of every time he touched his lip when he's looking at Nicola and make this
It's
whole
very
kind of
obsessive.
so, some people take it to that extreme, and others just like to live in this delulu where they're fully rationally aware that these people aren't a couple.
Please stop using that
Please
horrendous
stop being an old man, Morgan. Old man Morgan. I'm older than you, and you're just like, stop using these.
I know, but look at my comfy jumper.
Stop using these Gen Z terms.
It's not a I mean, it's not even a Gen Z term. It's just a stupid
I
term.
think it's
There's a
cute. It's
difference
it's a
there.
cute way to describe a cute feeling about a cute thing.
Maybe in
So,
certain accents, not in my
well, when
accent, you
you say
Delulu.
"delulu," all crotchety like that,
I've
yeah,
never
no, it
heard
doesn't.
anybody
It's not
say
very cute, but I'm gonna keep saying it because I think it's cute. But yes, we are people. There are
fine.
people like me who live on the Delulu plane where we can be like, yes, this is so cute. I wish they were together in my dreams, but I'm fully aware that they are their own individual people. They are not a couple. They're just very good friends.
Well, this
So
is where we need to stay,
yes,
because
this is where we
this
need
is
to
the
live.
good area, but it is
Yes.
the area that too few people, I feel, are
Yes,
in.
because the day that the second part of season 3 Bridgerton premiered, Luke posted a picture with his girlfriend holding hands with another girl, and there was a certain crazy group of people who were mad and, like, heartbroken that it can't be true. Him and Nicola aren't
Acting.
real, and really, stayed too deep in Delulu and really kind of allowed themselves to believe that to be true.
It's
And
these people who are dangerous, Janine. It's these
yes,
people who are
yeah,
genuinely dangerous, and I fear for people's lives at this point, and I'm not even being hyperbolic. I genuinely fear for some people's lives, because when they're not with the person but you should be with, like, what's going on in your life to be
that you
so
need this, you need it, like,
it
to
doesn't make
get
sense to me
by.
to be
Yes,
so intensely obsessed with a
invested.
complete stranger's love life.
Yeah.
Like, what they do is what they do.
Yes,
First and foremost, their job is acting, so
exactly,
that is
and
fictional, and they are pretending. They're playing pretend on a very large scale.
yes. So, I mean, and I think it works. I love this promotional tool to kind of play into an already felt chemistry
Obsessive,
between the
rampant.
actors. I appreciate them, I think it's smart for them to play into that and get fans excited about their project because look how successful Bridgerton ended up being.
Oh,
Um
absolutely, yeah, but they're also
and
playing into unhinged people's
I mean
desires.
Yes, but I feel like probably there's more rational people than delusional people at
I'd
this
like to
point,
think so.
but
I'll
there
be
are those
honest.
people out there. And then there are times when these relationships are kind of organic and then it just works in the benefit of the thing because like if you go back and see interviews with Keanu and Sandra
Mm.
Bullock, they talked about, you see them really cute in their interviews for their old movies together. And then you talk to them and they talked about, oh yeah, during Speed we did have a huge crush on each other, but nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
So
But
there
here's
were actually feelings there and they never really played into it. I think when Brendan Fraser and oh, what's her name? Judd
The
Apatow's
Mummy,
wife,
Rachel Weisz,
Leslie Mann,
Leslie Mann.
they came back together after years. And she talked about how
Ah.
she had this huge crush on him when they were doing George of the Jungle.
Oh, that's
So,
right. Yes, Leslie Mann in
yes,
George of the Jungle.
yes. So there are things that like were actually kind of plausible feelings and real feelings, but they just never played into it. But them being kind of cute together in that time played into their movies being successful, their projects being successful. So
Yeah. I mean, I I do get it. I was just reminded that I did see something this week that again I've seen a few times in the past few months where there appears to be a certain quality about Austin Butler, and this is why, because you mentioned him in the Bike Riders before,
yeah.
this is why this popped into my mind, where he's able to seemingly be shipped with every interviewer that interviews him.
Oh, yes, like, I literally just saw a video where he asked this interviewer, like, "Oh, what color is he?" Like, talking about one of her pets or something, and she's like, "Oh, he's gray, I'll have to show you pictures." He's like, "Oh, yeah, I'd like to see those pictures," and then it goes into, like, this hot edit of
I have
him,
so many
and the
questions.
way he says it to her, like,
I have s
"Okay."
I have so many questions. Is Austin Butler genuinely that charming? Because I do have an agenda against Austin Butler, and I'm sorry about
Because
that.
of his accent.
His face
And
annoys me, his stupid Elvis
I
accent annoys
I
me.
do think he's actually engaged to Sydney Crawford's daughter, so he already has a very attractive partner, but, he I guess
Cindy Crawford's daughter?
yes. Kaya Gerber,
What?
I think?
Okay, fair enough, right,
Yeah,
didn't know that.
I
The
think
point
so.
being,
Don't quote me on that.
is Austin Butler just this naturally charming, which fair enough if you are. I mean, my God, you're doing well for yourself, man.
Yeah.
Um, are all these interviewers playing it up a little bit, or is Austin Butler just a bit of a deviant and he's just trying to have it off with
Or
everybody?
or is this just another promotional tool that
Or
he's
is it
just
just another
using this
promotional
charisma and
tool?
charm and tee hee hee and getting these like buzzing interview moments so that people will talk about the
Mm,
movie? That's also kind of a promotional tool as well. So I feel like generally these actors know that people love their characters, know they love their characters in these couplings, and they get on well with their characters in real life and with their co-stars in real life. So they figure why not play into that during this promotional situation, during this interview to help sell our thing even more. But genuinely, I'm having fun with this person. I think recently, the most recent one with this new season of The Bear, people saw uh
yeah,
Jeremy Allen White at a baseball game with Io Itabiri, and he looked like he was like rubbing her back. And so people were all
yeah,
speculating, are they dating, all of this thing? And they actually came out before this, like I think the day before the episode of the new season came out saying, no, we're not setting up a romantic relationship between their characters on the show. So them doing that, so then it was like people even more speculating because obviously they're not doing that in a setting where it's publicized. Obviously, they're not doing that to sell their characters, but it somehow still worked to sell their their show.
it's
Um,
madness. But also,
yeah,
we have to ask: don't we have to ask the question now? Can't people just be close friends? Do people
exactly,
immediately
exactly.
jump?
I have a ton of guy friends, and I'm affectionate with them, arms on the shoulder, that kind of thing. And so, I mean, I get having that kind of rapport with a male friend that is completely
Yeah,
platonic. but not, but maybe people would read it that way if they were trying hard to find something,
I
Um,
mean, maybe you need to watch out. Maybe people are reading things in the old
yeah,
ways.
yes. So, I mean, yeah, maybe people are just very good friends and have that kind of rapport. But fans who see them on screen want to make something feel real, and so they kind of bring that into life.
It
So
really is interesting how it's developed into this now, because I suppose fan obsession with these kind of things also was very prevalent decades and decades and decades ago. Um, but because we're obviously so aware of a mass amount of fan interaction and
yeah.
fan opinion and this kind of stuff, we just clearly see it a lot more. It would intrigue me so much to look at maybe letters that were sent to studios or to old Hollywood actors when they married somebody who wasn't the person who they just had a massive romance with in their last,
Yeah.
and just how maybe the, I don't know, the thought process of the unhinged people, I'll call them, has changed from that to that, because maybe it's not changed all that much. Maybe now it's just a bit louder.
Yeah, I mean, it's more publicized. You have interviews, you have press tours, and all of that kind of thing that are go at a far quicker and larger scale and frequency
Yeah.
than anything
And
back then.
universal scale as well.
Yes, and you turn everywhere you turn, you're seeing this couple when they're in the midst of promoting something. So it's in your face all the time too, to kind of build up and see new interviews and see new cute moments and all of this. So when you're inundated with it, I think that also builds this kind of anticipation and want for it to be
Yeah.
real as well. So
So let's just put the question back on the screen to close out the Let's Talk today. Why do we get so into shipping celebrities? Is it due to a lack of love in our own lives? Not necessarily, because many people who have this in their own lives are obsessed with this. Is it just a fondness for wanting pretty people to be with other pretty people? And there's just an inherent need from us as fans of something to see those leads be deeper in their connection, make it real and not just fictional, because then the realness makes the fiction feel bigger, even though it's the exact same when we go and watch it and rewatch it.
yeah,
It's
I mean, I think, yeah, I think definitely it's a build of, if you kind of see the real life relationship be as strong as it is off screen, it's going to enhance how
mm,
you view the relationship on screen. And also I think it's just nice to see co-stars get along, especially if they're playing characters who have such a close relationship. So it's nice to know that they really care about each other and respect each other. So when you're going into specific scenes, like, with Nicola and Luke, when they had all of those really intimate scenes, it was nice to hear that they had this trust with each other and comfort with each other. So when you see those scenes, you can kind of see that in it. So I like when I think that's why people like shipping them. They know if this couple really gets along well and has this great rapport, it's going to add something to the chemistry that you see on screen.
as one last little quick fire question, though, is it
Yes.
not more impressive when two romantic co-stars hate each other in real life yet give believable performances?
Yes, that is also very impressive, and I think there's a lot of times where that has happened and we were none the wiser until, like, later interviews came up and,
I'm
um
actually way more impressed by that, because that takes some serious acting skill to do that then. If you like the other person, it's very easy. It's very
Yes.
easy.
Yes. Yes. But then, like, I've seen things like, I think Ashton Kutcher and Reese Witherspoon did a romance movie together where they were supposed to be kind of best friends for years who end up kind of falling for each other. And just seeing the press of that and, like, on the red carpet, they're kind of, like, stood apart with their hands, like, together, like, not even touching each other and that kind of thing. And so that is
Mm,
not really, so then you think of something like that, and even if they were brilliant in the film, it did nothing to kind of sell you the film in the first place to wanna even go see it, because look how dry and bland the chemistry was on the red
it's
carpet, in
very fair.
interviews, etcetera. So,
It's
I think
very, very fair.
it just helps kind of build anticipation for the project, and you just enjoy that respect between professionals in that way,
Yeah.
and you like seeing pretty people again. Pretty people just kind of adore each other, even if it's in a friendly capacity. It's cute. It's cute to
We will
see.
never get it is. We will never get over wanting pretty celebrities to be together with other pretty celebrities. We are really that fickle and kind of
Delulu.
vapid.
I was like,
Vapid, I'm gonna
he's
use the
gonna
word vapid.
I was like, "He's gonna suck it up and say it." And he
I'm not. We are really that vapid as a species
did. Delulu,
to
just say
be obsessed with that. I, for one, am not partaking in any Delulu. As we
fine.
move into fun and games, Jeannine, well, let's end
God,
today's show
such a
with the best
curmudgeon.
way, in the best way possible, I should say, because we always like fun and games. What game do you have for me?
I have a couple questions for you about on-screen couples.
Okay, very nice. I have brought back a format that I can't remember when I used it, but I have used it in
Okay.
season 2 of Monday Madness, which is you're going to guess somebody's top 10 of something.
Oh, okay.
I have Watch Mojo's, obviously the top 10
Yes.
people watch Mojo,
Mhm.
aren't they? You can't get away from them. Top 10 old Hollywood couples.
Okay, like on-screen couples or actual in-life
These
couples?
these are there is a small mix of both. However, they're all on
Have been on
screen.
screen together. Okay.
Yes, they're all
Okay.
on screen
Okay.
couples. Um, so you're obviously going first, aren't you? So
Yes.
yes, you've got 10. This is
Okay.
old Hollywood couples. Guess away. I will give you clues if you
Oh
require
my
them.
gosh. Okay. So 10, or am I just guessing them?
No,
Do I have
you're
to
just
guess what?
guessing couples,
Okay.
aren't you? And I'll
All
give you the
right.
placements. Yeah.
Okay. Katherine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy.
Is Watch Mojo's number 2 old Hollywood
Ooh.
couple? I was a little bit disgusted at this, to be honest with you, because I just
Yeah.
think they should be number 1.
Yeah. Um, Lauren Bacall and Humphrey Bogart.
Is number 5. They're
Oh.
number 5. Bogart and Bacall, number 5.
Okay.
We like Bogart and Bacall.
I
We,
mean,
we do.
do they have to have been, like, starred in a bunch of stuff together?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay,
There's a couple on here that I think you will very much enjoy their inclusion.
okay.
2
Um,
separate couples, that is.
oh, um, Sidney Poitier and Diane Carroll?
No, unfortunately, we do not get any
Mm,
Sydney. Good
um,
couple in Paris Blues, though.
right? Really cute.
Great couple.
Well, the other couple from Paris Blues, real life couple? Um,
Unfortunately not. You might
really?
think so. We are
Everyone's, like,
we
talking
are
about them as, like, the greatest old Hollywood love story, la, la,
yeah.
la. Um,
I I suppose I'm quite surprised Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward don't make it on here,
yes.
given that think more specific movies
Um, Judy
rather than in real
Garland
life.
and Mickey Rooney?
No.
Okay, I know they just did a bunch of stuff together, so,
Yeah. No, think
um,
it's definitely romantic. They're definitely
Uh,
couples in specific movies. It's just some
Jimmy Stewart and
no
Donna
Jimmy Stewart.
Reed. What?
No Jimmy Stewart, Donna Reed, no, no. We're bigger than that. Bigger. I know that's
Bigger.
obviously big. We're It's a Wonderful podcast,
Yes.
but
Um,
in romance terms, bigger than that. Like, yeah,
Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman.
are number one on
What?
this list.
Oh,
Because Casablanca's so
I guess.
perfect.
Yes,
That's
it is.
why.
It is. Okay.
You're
Cary
looking for number 3?
Cary Grant and Grace
No.
Kelly.
No. We're looking for number 3, 4,
Ooh.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Oh my gosh. Like,
You've got
who else do
what
I know?
you do. Come on.
Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers.
Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers are number 3. Yes,
Okay.
very good. And I want you to really start thinking specific movies now.
Yes.
Massively romantic movies. I can give you clues if you want them.
Yes, I need some clues.
Clues. I'll hand you a cigarette from my own mouth, Jeannine.
Betty Davis and oh my god, Paul Henry.
Betty Davis and Paul Henry in Now Voyager.
So
is in
romantic. I'm
there.
swooning
At
just
number
thinking
8.
about it. Oh, nice. Okay, now I get what you said. Some couples you'd really enjoy.
Yes. I can give you clues. Number 4. I mean, enormous movie. Still the highest grossing movie ever.
Uh, Gone with the Wind.
Yes. Come
Yes.
on.
I'm thinking of their character names.
That's fine. You can give me that. As for that, we'll take that. We'll accept that.
Scarlett and Rhett.
Yes, we're looking
Yes.
for, of course, Vivian Lee and Clark
Clark
Gable.
Gable. Yes.
At number 4.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you might think about Gone with the Wind these days.
I mean, Myrna Loy and William Powell.
I love the fact they're on there at number 10.
Yay!
For the Thin Man series.
Yes.
It's great. We're now looking for number 9, number 7, and number 6. I'd like to point out that Mr. Gable is on there a second time.
Clark Gable and Claudette Colbert.
Yes, at number 6 for It Happened One Night. We're now looking for a very, very famous couple, mainly the sort of 60s, early 60s. On again, off again. Everybody was obsessed by them. Massive movies. Purple Eyes.
Purple Eyes.
She had purple eyes, famously. Not like Monday Madness purple, but violet eyes. He was Welsh. Enormous couple.
Oh, Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton.
Yes, our number 9.
No.
And number 7, a Billy Wilder movie. A couple from a Billy Wilder movie.
Ooh.
I mean, I'm not going to call them the least romantic. They're definitely the pluckiest couple on the entire list. Even with Powell and Loy, they're definitely the pluckiest couple.
Well, the pluckiest.
Powell and Loy just get hammered with each other and start making fun of each other.
Hepburn?
Wow, like
Is it Hepburn again? No. Is it
comedy?
Not the other Hepburn?
No
Hepburn.
No, it's a good thought. It's a good thought for maybe a, Sabrina.
Yes.
Yes. No, later than that.
Ooh.
Later. It's a wonderful movie.
William Holden?
William Holden, not William Holden. No, it's a really good movie. Like, phenomenal movie.
Oh,
I think I watched it the last time I was on a plane.
plucky movie.
No, I'm not necessarily a plucky movie. Your man here is rather, should we call him, plucky, neurotic, little, zany. Zany's a bad word to describe him.
Zany.
Energetic.
And it's not
energy.
Jimmy. And it's not
No,
Carrie.
small.
Small.
Makes faces a lot. Makes faces. Doesn't contort his face, but like is able to.
Bing?
No.
Not Bing.
Later.
Oh.
It's a movie about a residence. The title of the movie
is it Jack? Jack and Shirley? Jack Lemmon and Shirley MacLaine in the apartment?
Shirley MacLaine. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Jack
All
Lemmon,
right.
Shirley MacLaine in the apartment.
Okay.
I like that.
Yes.
I like that format. Getting you thinking. It's a different game. It's an actual game.
Yes.
It's not just questions. Now, for just the questions.
Thank you for dissing my format. I'm sorry. My format is boring. Okay.
I didn't mean it like that.
I'm gonna ask you questions about actor couplings that have worked together several times.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. So, Tom Hanks has worked with Meg Ryan 3 times, but how many times has he worked with Julia Roberts?
Oh. More than Meg Ryan? No. Yes.
I think that would give
4 times. Twice.
Twice, yes.
Twice.
In a film he directed, Larry Crown, and in Charlie Wilson's War.
Okay.
Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell fell in love while filming Swing Shift. What year was it released?
Oh, God. Oh. I don't know. 80, 70? 81.
Close. I'm going to take one more guess. A very important year to me.
Wow. 84.
Yes. Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone appeared in 3 films together: La La Land, Crazy Stupid Love, and what was the third?
God. It was, what's wrong with me? It was recently. It wasn't recently. It was recently. It wasn't recently. Oh. No, it wasn't recently. It's because they had a fun moment at the Oscars. I was thinking it was recently.
Yes.
It was La La Land, Crazy Stupid Love, and oh God.
A movie where real life events messed with the film's release.
Real life events messed with.
Yeah. It wasn't a very successful film.
Oh, I don't know. I've no idea.
That's Gangster Squad.
Gangster Squad.
The film had a scene where a shooting happened in a movie theater, and it was about the time that the Batman thing happened. So they had to kind of cut that scene out and edit around it, and so the movie came out at a different time, and then nobody really saw it.
Yeah, I forgot that movie existed. I did not even
I didn't
realize that those two were in it.
Yes. How many times have Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence worked together?
Definitely twice. So it's always one more than you think. 3 times. Incorrect.
They've actually worked together 6 times.
6 times?
Yes. Silver Linings Playbook, American Hustle, Serena, Joy. That Zach Galifianakis show, Between Two Ferns, actually had a movie. So they appeared in that together. And a movie called The First Monday in May.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
Okay. And last question. Keanu Reeves has worked with three
Yes,
different actresses more than once, because of course he's wonderful. Who would not want to work with him more than once?
I would.
Sandra Bullock,
Yes,
Carrie Ann Moss, and who
yes.
was the third?
Why do you make it difficult for me?
Who was the third?
Um, what's that movie? No, that's Sandra Bullock. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. What's that? Keanu. Winona Ryder. No. Yes.
I mean,
No.
that's one. There's two. There's two different answers. So
Oh, I can have Winona Ryder.
you could have Winona
Yeah.
Ryder. Yes.
Success.
The other one is Charlize Theron. He did 2 movies with her.
Oh, very nice.
Sweet
Very nice.
November and The
Gordon.
Devil's Advocate.
Oh, the devil's advocate. Yes, of
Yes.
course. Good questions. Good questions. We like questions. We did.
Oh, we do
didn't
now.
want to be
We like-
offended about questions that I said before. We like the questions. I just feel you're good at asking the questions. I come up with questions that are very bland. You see, you actually think about your questions. That's
Yes.
why I do the other things.
Okay.
Anyway, let's call it there
All
for
right.
this episode of Monday Madness. We've had fun today. Great discussions, paying respects, movie reviews as well. Exciting on today's episode. It is not the only show you can find on this podcast feed, though, is it, Jeannine? It's your turn to do promotion.
No, you can also find our Wednesday show, Morgan Hasn't Seen, where I make you watch things you haven't seen. We are in the midst of a really great series, talking provocative pictures. So talking, films about, some saucy elements. So it's going to be a really fun series where we get into some very interesting discussions. And of course, we have our Classic Films podcast. It's a Wonderful Podcast, where we give love to those old films. And we are in the middle of our noir-based series, Couples on the Run. So I'm excited to delve into those films for sure and get back into the noir genre. So you can find those every Wednesday and Friday on the It's a Wonderful Podcast feed.
Lovely. Of course, subscribe, ding the notification bell if you are watching today's episode on the It's a Wonderful Podcast YouTube channel. If you're not, go over there and do that as well. Obviously, subscribe wherever you are listening to this show on all major podcast platforms. If you want to support us on Patreon or donate in any way, there are links in the description of this episode to go and do that. Or, of course, you can just find us on social media. All that sort of stuff has been scrolling down at the bottom of the screen if you are watching, but we're on the app formerly known as Twitter at It's a Wonderful One. You can find me there at the Purple Dom with a 3 instead of the E in there because, Jeannine,
3 is a magic number.
On Instagram, TikTok, Threads at the Purple Dawn. All your shipping stuff is where.
Ooh. You can find me at Jeannine Devine _ on Twitter, Jeannine Devine on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. If you want to get any merch for any of our shows, just check the description for the link or search It's a Wonderful Podcast on teespring.com. And if you want to purchase any of my art in print form, you can find that at my Big Cartel shop, g9design.bigcartel.com.
I almost actually asked you all your shipping containers are where, but that wouldn't have made any sense because I don't think you own any shipping containers.
I don't. Sadly,
I don't. You wouldn't have anywhere to store a shipping container.
No, I would not.
Silly. Only one thing left to do then, Jeannine, I suppose. In your best Austin Butler trying to do an impression of his co-stars in the Bike Riders, please.
Oh my gosh, what in the complicated
this
request is that?
This is actually the best request I could have given you because you are free to do absolutely anything and nobody would say inaccurate.
I'm seeing him still stuck in Elvis mode, but then also trying to put on this British accent because I think most Americans, when they are around British people for long enough, they inherently just want to try to do a British accent. So,
do you want to do that when you speak to me?
now yours has just kind of zoned out to me to where I don't really
Oh,
think of
I've
it
zoned
anymore.
out to
But
you.
when I'm
That's-
around new British people,
Oh, I don't matter anymore. I see.
your
That's
accent has kind of just become normalized to me.
right. Okay.
But it kind of
Now
came.
I'm
I kind
offended.
of was hyper aware of it when you started saying Delulu like that.
Well, now
But
I'm offended, so we'll both have an offended moment in the show today.
okay. Austin Butler being around British people for too long. 3, 2, oh, whoa.
That sounds like your impression of Ron Weasley.
I thought you said nobody could make fun of it because they wouldn't know what it was. They hate it. Bye.
Oh,